Hi guys, we're Team 4 and today we're going to be presenting about Brazilian street art. First, we're going to talk a little bit about the history of Brazil. Brazil was colonized by the Portuguese in 1500. The Brazilian War of Independence gained Brazil its independence, and Portugal recognized Brazil as its own country on August 29, 1825. The influence of colonialism, however, is still very strong in Brazil. Portuguese is the national language, and many citizens of Brazil can trace their roots back to either Portuguese settlers or slaves that were brought to the country in the slave trade, which was abandoned in 1850. Years of political instability were followed by a series of dictatorships. They finally achieved democracy and peaceful transfers of power in 2002. Dictatorships in Brazil repressed art and cultural expression. Street art became the rebellion to express the common person's opinion and the daily struggles of life faced by citizens under the dictatorship. The first street art appeared in Brazil in the 1960s and 1970s as a way to express dissenting opinions. Artists chose the city walls as their canvases because they could be viewed by a large number of people, and spray paint was an easily accessible and affordable tool for them to use. The street art movement exploded in the 1980s after the end of a 20-year dictatorship, when there was a large counterculture movement focused on freedom of expression and political protest. Brazilian street art is unique and different from street art in Europe and North America. Brazil has many more artists and techniques, and street art is a more integrated part of the culture. There are two types of Brazilian street art, pixaco and graffiti. Pixaco is the Brazilian equivalent of tagging, or signing one's name or representation of themselves in public. Graffiti, however, is characterized by large-scale murals or projects. São Paulo is known as the center hub of Brazilian street art. Rio de Janeiro and Curitiba are also prominent cities for artists. Street art is accepted in the local culture and omnipresent in the cities. Brazilian graffiti is considered one of the most significant strands of the global art movement, and is used as a large form of communication and expression in Brazil. In March 2009, the Brazilian government made street art legal as long as the building's owners consented. In 1999, Rio de Janeiro held a project called Don't Tag Graffiti to showcase the talent and diversity of local artists. Street art is all over the cities regardless of socioeconomic class or location. It's used as a way to build community identities in Brazil and unite people. Street art is also important in the form of social protest in Brazil. Many people use it as a form of voicing their opinions against the government on issues such as social, economic, and environmental current events. One example of this is protesting violence against women, as seen in this piece. Many feminist groups in Brazil, such as the one pictured here, have used street art to help get their message across. Street art is a good way for the feminist groups to express their opinions to a very large audience across the city in a way that allows them to be creative, express emotions, and still get their point across. It is also a way to help involve the whole community. In addition to protesting violence against women, street art is also used to protest police brutality in Brazil. Protesters can put their art on the city walls without fear of retribution from police in the way that they might get if they organized protests or marches. Many of you may remember the World Cup that took place last summer in 2014. Some of you may not know, however, that many Brazils actually protested the World Cup because they felt that the money going towards FIFA and building stadiums wasn't giving back to the community in any way. They felt the government should have been focused on issues in Brazil such as poverty, starvation, and education rather than the World Cup. These works can be seen all across the city. Well-known street artist Paulo Ito said, "I think it has a political attitude. It is a political thinking in a certain way. Not in all the works, others are more poetic than political. But the response was still very emotional. When people have emotion, it becomes a subject, or more." Another well-known street artist, Cranio, says, "For many people, the World Cup is no good. They don't have hospitals, schools, transport. Everything is bad, but they are putting a lot of money towards the World Cup. This is an intervention with the World Cup theme. I'm trying to say what I think through the paintings and express myself through art." Some of the most well-known artists in Brazil are twins Otávio and Gustavo Pandolfo. They are known for their art on apartment buildings and overpasses covering Brazil. Their art has also been known to sell six figures at auctions, and they have traveled to U.S. cities such as Houston and Chicago to teach their art to artists in the U.S. Another prominent artist is Pamela Castro, who is one of the most well-known female street artists in Brazil. Her work covers issues such as violence and feminist topics in Brazilian culture. She has also traveled to other countries to teach artists how to integrate art in their communities in the ways that a government would support. Francisco de Silva, another artist, has operated Project Cato, which encourages youth in Brazil's favelas to get involved with street art and express some of their anger at the government in a more healthy way than something such as, say, gang violence. His project has been very successful and is commended all over Brazil. We hope you have learned something about Brazilian street art today and have found a new interest that you can explore in the art world. Thanks for listening, and good luck on finals, everyone!